Hello everyone, if you saw my last video you'll know that I've recently moved into my first kind of new house, and as a result all of my stuff has obviously just been like stuck in boxes and bags, and all my makeup has just kind of been chucked in bags and there is no organisation there whatsoever. So, oh hang on, let me fix that exposure. So today I thought I would kind of declutter my makeup collection and then reorganise it and bring you guys along with me, because whenever I watch these videos it always really motivates me to like clean my room and sort my life out, so that's why I figured I'd film it for you guys as well. But without further ado, let's just get into all the makeup which is scattered around my floor. So this is the current situation that we're dealing with. It's actually not that bad, like I don't have huge amounts of makeup, but it does just feel very kind of disorganised to me. So I think the first step I'm going to do is sort things into piles of kind of whether they're foundations, concealers, eyeshadows, and then that should make life a bit easier for doing the rest of it. Okay, so I've sorted everything into its pile. So here I've got colour correctors, which is just one because I only have one. This is face powders and a little eye powder there. This is all of my face primers, then foundations, concealers, blushes, bronzers, highlighters, eyelashes. I didn't really know like eye crayons, so yeah, I didn't know kind of what category to do that, but kind of eye pencil stuff, mascaras. Up there is all my different eyeliners. Then here is my eyebrow section. Then we have lip liners, liquid lipsticks, kind of normal lipsticks, and then kind of glosses and moisturising balms. And then finally we have all of my different eyeshadow palettes, and down here is just kind of a few little eyeshadow pots. So now I'm just going to go through each section and get rid of the things which either I don't use anymore or have expired, so that is what I'm going to do. So the first thing we have is this Barry M colour correcting kit, and it is just a load of kind of cream colour correctors. I don't really use it to be honest, but I think I'll keep it just because it can be quite handy to have, and obviously because it's used it's not like anyone else is going to want it. So that will stay for now. In terms of my powders, this is definitely staying because this is like my go-to powder. It is the best. Even though it's kind of not targeted as a matte one, this is the one I find does keep me matte the best all day, so he will definitely be staying. This one is one I got kind of in like a beauty subscription box, and honestly I haven't used it. It's meant to be like a rice powder, but I found it quite chunky. So that is in my potentially kind of leaving my collection. Anything that I am getting rid of, I'm not actually going to be binning if it's in date. I'll kind of give it to friends and family, so yeah. Next we have the number 7, I think it's called Stay Perfect, Perfect Light Loose Powder. This one is one I use on a daily basis for the majority of my face, and it is absolutely brilliant, and you really don't need a lot, so it lasts ages. And the other one I have is this teeny tiny little e.l.f. one, and this is just a eye setting powder, and this one's really fine, so it works really well and doesn't give you creases or anything. So this one's only like £3 as well, and it is my absolute favourite, so obviously that one is staying as well. So next we have my primers and setting sprays. So the first thing we have is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. This is one I pretty much use on a daily basis, so this will be staying in my collection. And I've also got a little baby one, which is really handy for travelling. I think I got this free in like a magazine or something. Next we have my All Nighter Setting Spray, obviously keeping this because it is just an essential to keep in your collection. We've got a teeny tiny little MAC Prep and Prime, and this was like back when if you ordered on MAC you got like a free little sample. I'm not sure if they still do that, but this is very old and probably pretty empty, so that'll be leaving and going in the bin. Then we have my NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. This one's only I think £5 or £6, and honestly it is so good. I do suffer with dry skin, so sometimes I don't really want a matte finish to my makeup, so this one is really good at kind of locking in the moisture. And they do also do a matte version as well, so if you do have oilier skin I'd definitely recommend that one because this is so good for the price. Next we have a little Benefit Professional. Honestly, I'm not like a huge fan of the Professional just because I don't really like the texture of it, because it's kind of like silicone-y. I'm just not a huge fan. I prefer the ones that kind of feel more like a moisturiser, and this one I think is pretty old looking at it and it doesn't feel that full. So again, this will be leaving my collection. I might offer it to my mum, and if she wants it she can have it. If not, this will be going in the bin. Next we have a Nivea Men Post Shave Balm, and I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years ago on YouTube within the beauty community, this was like such a staple item. It was like a massive trend after Nikki Tutorials kind of recommended it. Honestly, haven't used it in absolutely ages, but there is loads left, so I'll keep it and my boyfriend can have it and moisturise his face because, I mean, it is a post shave balm, so I'm sure he'll get some use out of that. Next we have the MAC Prep and Prime. There isn't that much left in it, but as you can probably tell, it is a much loved item in my collection. Finally, from the kind of primer section, we have this Figs and Rouge Soft Focus Pore Perfect HD Matte Veil. This is just like a little primer, again, something that I got in a beauty box. It is actually a really nice primer, however it smells like so weird. It almost does smell like it's off, but it was literally like brand new when I got it. So I think even though I did really like kind of how it made my skin look, the fact it kind of smells like it's gone off does put me off a bit, so I think I will be getting rid of this one as well. Next up we have foundations. The first one we have is a foundation stick, and this is the Revolution Fast Base Stick Foundation. This one's in the shade F6, so it's quite good for when I have rarely got a tan. It's a bit kind of melted, and when it applies to the skin it is really nice. However, because it's a stick formula, I think they are a bit more oily, so because of that it doesn't really last that long. So when I was wearing it in summer, because obviously that was when I had a tan, I did find it kind of just melted off my face. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this or not. It's kind of a maybe at the moment. Like, it's a really nice foundation when you first apply it, but I haven't yet found a way to kind of make it so that it actually stays all day. Next up we have the Ordinary Coverage foundations, and as you can probably tell by the fact I have 3 of them, this is one of my go-to foundations. This is what I literally wear on an everyday basis. They're only £6, and honestly they are genuinely one of the best foundations I've come across, which is why I have 3 shades, and obviously when it comes to summer I'll probably be getting a few more darker shades, and honestly couldn't recommend these enough. I have kind of weird dry skin that also has oily patches, and this is kind of the best one I found that works for my skin, so I definitely recommend you guys give it a try. Next up we have a Dermacol makeup cover foundation, and again a few years ago these were like a huge trend because they're marketed as super high coverage. I think they're actually used kind of like in the theatre industry and stuff like that. When I used it, I will admit, massively full coverage. However, it's a very oily formula, and it kind of obviously looks very cakey on your skin because it is so thick, and honestly I don't think I'll be using it, so this one will be going. Next we have a Max Factor Colour Adapt foundation in 40 Creamy Ivory. This is nice in the sense that when you wear it, it doesn't feel like you're wearing any foundation. However, at the same time, I don't feel like it gives me much coverage, and I do prefer to have a little bit more coverage from my foundations. However, it is pretty full, so I'm not going to bin it. It is pretty new as well, so this will be one that mum can have. Finally, we have the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation, and the main reason I bought this is because I used it for my prom last year. Really nice foundation, however the colour naturally is far too dark for me. It works for prom because I had a lot of tan on, and I knew that there'd be flashback and stuff because I had an SPF in it, so I kind of opted for a little bit of a darker colour. So the actual formula is really nice, however because it is so dark I can't really wear it, which is a bit of a shame. However, I will keep it because, as I say, if I do buy some Miracle Get Really Tanned in summer, then this will be perfect. Next up is my concealers, and I honestly didn't realise how many concealers I actually had. So the first one we have is the Soap & Glory Kick-Ass Concealer, and if I try and open this with my one hand, so it's got 2 shades in it, a more pinky colour for under the eye and then just a more kind of natural colour. It also comes with a mirror, which is really good, and if you flip it, it also has a powder. So in that sense, it is really good. However, because it is more of kind of like a potted concealer, I don't really tend to reach for it. I prefer just kind of a liquid one that I just apply straight on my face. But it is really good, so I'm a bit torn. I might keep it and maybe give it another go because it was really good when I did use it. So we will keep him, and maybe in a few months I'll kind of come back and see if I need to get rid of it. Next is a Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. This is in a what looks like quite a dark shade. I don't actually know what shade it is because it doesn't say. It doesn't really look that dark on camera, but trust me, this is dark. Obviously, as it is a darker shade, it's something I generally only wear in summer, but the formula itself is really nice and creamy, so this one will be staying. Next, we have my Revlon Colour Stay Concealer in the shade 02 Light Pale. Again, I absolutely loved this when I first had it, and I did use it loads. However, it's pretty old now, and it's not something I tend to reach for, so because of that, I will be getting rid of this one. Next we have the NYX HD Concealer, and once again this is something that I used to use so much, but I really don't tend to use it anymore, and it is pretty old at this point, so I think it's about time that I kind of said goodbye to it. So next we have the LA Girl Pro Conceal like weird concealer. It has like a brush end, and again this is something which was massively raved about on YouTube for ages. I honestly don't really use it. I used it a little bit when I first bought it, but as I say, it's not something I particularly kind of tend to go for. I'm not really a fan of the kind of weird brush applicator. I prefer a dofer, but I will again offer it to my mum because it's a perfectly fine product, but I just don't use it. Next we have my two Revolution Conceal and Define Concealers in slightly different shades, obviously depending on if it's for my under eye or the rest of my face. I do use these a fair bit, so these will be staying, and they have a really good formula, and they're only like £4, so again, really good drugstore concealer. And then finally we have the Maybelline Instant Eye Eraser Anti-Aging thing. It's got the weird kind of, I don't know how to describe it, kind of domed applicator at the top. This is one I use every day for my under eyes because I find it sits really nicely and doesn't crease. So this will also be staying in my collection. Next is my kind of blushes and bronzers. So the first thing we have is two of the mini Benefit Benny tints. When I was first getting into makeup when I was like 13, 14, I used to absolutely love these, but again, not something I particularly use, and they're both kind of half empty, so I think these will be going probably in the bin because I'm not sure it's something my mum will want either. Next up is this NYX blush in the shade Soft Spoken, and I'm not sure how well you can see it on camera. It's just kind of like a neutral peachy shade. I honestly don't really use it that much, but it is a really nice colour, so I will keep it in my collection if I decide to go for a peach. I generally kind of go more pink, but I will keep this and see if I use it. Then we have this one, and the packaging has completely rubbed off, and it was in another beauty subscription box, and this is my absolute favourite blush that I use every day. It's just quite a natural kind of pinky shade, and it's got a little bit of shimmer, so it looks really pretty on the cheek, and it's quite natural as well. So again, it's kind of like my perfect blush, but as I say, because the packaging's rubbed off, I do not have a clue what brand this is or anything. Next you have a sleek rose gold blush. This is another one of them products which was an absolute classic back in kind of 2013 or 14 on YouTube. Honestly, I haven't used it in so long, but it is so pretty because it's got all these little kind of gold iridescent flecks in it, but it's really old, so I really should get rid of it. So I think I am going to have to finally say goodbye to this one, even though it is so pretty. It's got to be done. Next we have a few kind of stick blushes. This one is another one from a beauty subscription box. It's from Universal Beauty, and the shade is 04 Nectar. This one I've used quite a fair bit, if I can get it up, because again it's a really kind of natural rosy colour, so it does look really nice on the cheek and it blends out really well. So this one will be staying because I'm a big fan of it. The other one I have is a highlight and sculpt cheek stick from Soap and Glory, and it is Love at First Blush. The shade is, let's have a look if it'll focus, Pink Pop and Pearl. I haven't really used this one that much just because I only got it recently, so I haven't really tried it out yet. But again, it's quite a natural kind of pinky nude shade, and it's got like little sparkle bits in it, so it kind of doubles as a highlighter, which is quite nice. Next we have kind of bronzy stuff. I didn't really know how to define it, so I just kind of put all of these together. The first one we have is a City Colour Contour Palette, and if I just open it up, so in here there's a contour, bronze and highlight shade. As you can see, I was a pretty big fan of the contour shade, and I do still use it to this day when I feel like obviously doing a bit more makeup if I'm like going out or something like that. So this will be staying in my collection because I really like it. Next is an e.l.f. contouring blush and bronzing cream. The The colours in here are really nice, like they're very natural, and it's got a really big mirror on it, which is again really good. However, it is not something I tend to reach for. I think the colours are just a tad too dark for me when I haven't got any tan on, so because of that I don't really use it. And because it's cream, I don't really like cream bronzers. I'd use like a cream contour kit, but I prefer like an actual powder bronzer, so I don't really use it. So this one will be going over to Mum. And then finally we have my Hoola bronzer. As you can tell, because I've hit pan, this is literally an everyday product for me. It's an absolute classic, and for good reason. It's my absolute favourite bronzer and the only one I've stuck with for so long. So this will definitely be staying in my collection. Next we have highlighters, and the first one I have is the Wet n Wild highlighting powder in Precious Petals. And this is really nice, like the pigment on it is so good. I just stabbed my nail in it. But the colour's just a little bit dark at the minute, but I will keep it. So as I say with a lot of these, hopefully by the time summer comes around and I'm a little bit darker, they'll work better. But in terms of the quality, it's really good, but the shade's just a little bit dark. Next we have the MUA Undress Your Skin highlighter. And this used to be my absolute go-to when I was like 12 or 13. As you can see by the big kind of dent in it. It's so good for the price. Like, I'll do a little swatch so you can see it. I think it was like £2 or £3 when I bought it. Next is this e.l.f. Natural Glow Stick. And this I will be getting rid of because when I've used it before, it really doesn't do a lot in terms of actually being a highlighter. If you can see, it kind of just looks like a lip balm, and literally all it kind of did to my face was make it really sticky. Actual highlighter wise, it didn't really do a lot, unfortunately, so this is another one which will be leaving my collection. Then we've got this little Benefit High Beam. Again, as you can tell, it's pretty much seen better days. I haven't used this in a long time either, but I did used to absolutely love it. It gives you a really nice kind of natural glow. But as I say, I don't use it, so I'll probably be getting rid of this one as well. Next is this Revolution Liquid Highlighter. And I actually got this the other week free with a magazine, but it's got like the little kind of pipette top to it, and you kind of drip it out. I have tried it and it's really nice. It's quite a subtle glow, so I usually kind of use it underneath another highlighter if I want quite a big glow. But it is really nice, and the formula seems good because some of them can go a bit kind of sticky and patchy, but this one seems really nice. Similarly, I have this Barry M Liquid Chrome highlighter drops in the shade Beam Me Up. So I think this was the light shade they did. Again, really nice kind of glow. However, I do tend to use the liquid ones just as a base underneath because they don't quite have like the same pop that a powder one does. Next is this Revolution Chocolate Bar Highlighting Palette. And when I picked this up, I thought the colours in it were so nice. However, it is very chunky glitter where it's a bit kind of too chunky. And I like quite a creamy highlight, and this is very powdery. I mean, the pigment on them is so good, as you can see, but I don't know if you can tell, it's quite chalky. Finally, we have my Sleek Solstice palette, and this is my absolute favourite. This is the one that I use every single day. If I open it up, it's got 4 shades, 3 are powder, 1 is cream at the top. As you can tell, this one is my favourite because as I'm quite pale, this one looks really natural but still gives you a really good glow. However, the other 2 shades are really nice as well, but they don't really work for kind of everyday for me. But yeah, I absolutely love this palette, and this is like my favourite highlighter ever. Next we have my fake lashes, and the main ones I have is this book of lashes, which I got on Black Friday for I think £40, which is so good for 12 pairs. And it's got loads of different styles, so it's really good. It pretty much has like everything I'd ever want in terms of like a fake lash. I also then have this very odd looking pair here, which I think I'm going to get rid of because they look like they've seen better days. Next we have my eye pencils. First one I have is the Natural Collection eye lines. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Natural Collection eye lines in white. This is just a white eye pencil that I use in my waterline. It does need a bit of a sharpen, but I think it's like £2 and it's really good. Next I have, again from a beauty subscription box, Lord & Berry just eye pencil. It looks a little dark anyway, so I probably would use it as like an eye pencil if I were to use it, but we'll keep it. I haven't really used it, so I should give it a chance before I get rid of it. Then we have this Maybelline Big Eyes liner, And this is double-ended, so it has a black on one end and a white on the other, but as you can tell it's very old, and the fact it's quite big makes it a little bit awkward to use, so I think I'll be getting rid of this now that I've got kind of a separate white liner. And then finally we've got the Soap and Glory Smolder Kohl. I don't know how you say coal, I don't know. This is a waterproof eyeliner in a kind of blacky brown colour. I'm not sure if it will focus. But what I really like about it is in the lid of the packaging, it actually has a sharpener, because I am so bad for leaving things to go really dull so they don't work very well, but this one comes with the sharpener, so I've got no excuses. Next we have mascaras. I don't really have too many because I did sort them out quite recently. The first one I have is the Soap and Glory Thick and Fast. This is my absolute favourite mascara. The wand on it is so nice, and it has collagen in it, so it just makes your lashes really defined and thick. So this is my absolute favourite at the minute. I've been using it for about a year, I think. We also have a little They're Real, which I keep just because it's quite handy for bottom lashes, because it is slightly smaller. It's good for getting your little lashes without kind of getting loads of mascara down your face. And then we have a big They're Real as well, which I just keep because, again, it's another one of my favourite mascaras, but I have been using my Soap and Glory one at the minute. On to eyeliners. The first one we have is the xoxo Fat Liquid Eyeliner in black. Honestly, I really don't use this one. It's got like the thick kind of felt tip, which I find quite hard to use sometimes, and I do find they dry out quite quickly. However, it is in good condition, it's really new, so I'll probably give this to my mum and see if she wants to use it. Next we have a Super Cat eyeliner from Soap and Glory in black. Again, this is a felt tip one, which again I do find dries out quite quickly, but I do find this one a little bit easier to use because it's slightly smaller, so you can get a bit more precision with it. Next I have this pot of Maybelline gel eyeliner, and I really like how the gel style looks on other people, because I find with liquid it can kind of crack sometimes. I just find it really hard to like get a really clean line with it, so I think I just need a little bit more practice, so I'll keep this because it'll force me to try and actually be able to use gel eyeliner. Next we have two Collection Fast Strokes, which is my favourite liquid eyeliner. It's like £3 I think, and it's so good. The reason I still have two is because one is empty and they look exactly the same, and I'm too scared to bin one in case it's the new one. So I do need to sort that out, but for now I'm just going to keep both and I'll work it out as I go along. Next we have a Super Cat Fat eyeliner, which again is like the thin one but a big one. As I said, I have a bit of a struggle with the big ones because I find them a bit harder to use, so again I don't use this, so I'll probably be giving this one away as well. Finally we have a Primark eyeliner, and what I used to do is when my collection was running low, I'd use the formula from this one with the applicator from the collection one, and it would work really well. That was like when I had no money and would just kind of DIY it, but I think this is pretty much empty, so this will probably be going in the bin. Next we have this Eyelure brow kit. This is a powder brow kit, so it has two brown shades and a highlight. Honestly, I don't use this. If I'm going to use a kind of powder brow, it would usually be like in the form of a pencil, so I don't really tend to use this kind of style. They are really nice colours, like they're not too warm, but as I say, I don't use them, so I'll probably just give this away to whoever wants it. Next I've got my Freedom Dip Brow Pomade, which I used to use literally every day. If I open it up so you can have a look. So next we have the Maybelline Brow Drama. This is just a brow setting gel, and it's got like a dark brown tint to it. This again I use like every day to help me set my brows, and they stay in place all day without kind of going crispy, which can happen with some setting gels, so that will be staying as well. And then finally for the brows we have Maybelline Tattoo Brow, and this is just like a kind of lasting tint. I don't really use this anymore because I found it could be a little bit warm at times, but my boyfriend secretly likes me to tint his brows with it, so again I'll keep this one as well. Next we have all of my lip liners. I don't think I'm really going to go through these because I'll probably just keep them all, because it's always handy to have lots of different shades depending on what lip colour you're going for, so this is a quick one. I will just be keeping all of my lip liner. Next we've got all my liquid lipsticks, and the first one we have is from Primark, and this is the PS Matte Liquid Lipstick. It's kind of like a dark purple colour. Honestly, I think I've used it like once. The formula's nice, but the colour just isn't something I'd really wear, so I'll probably be getting rid of this just because the colour isn't something that I'll typically use. Next we have my Maybelline Super Stay Matte Ink in Self Starter. This will definitely be staying. It's one of my favourite lip products at the moment. The formula of these is so good. I find even products which kind of say they're long lasting, they don't tend to last when you kind of eat and drink with them on, but this one genuinely can last all day without needing a top up. So I have got another one in another shade, but I think it's in a bag somewhere, so it's not in this collection at the minute. Next we have something from Larizzi. Again, this will be from a beauty subscription box. I honestly haven't used this. The colour seems nice, but as you can see I have quite a lot of kind of red colours, and I'm not even sure if this is kind of a matte or gloss formula, so I'll probably just give this to my mum and see if she'll wear it. Next we have a NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream, and I used to absolutely love these. However, I know that this is fairly old at this point. It's probably a good few years old, so just for that matter I will probably be getting rid of this one. Next I've got a Chloe Ferry liquid lipstick in the shade Sass. These are also really good. The colour comes off so nicely and it lasts really well. They're not as good as the Maybelline ones, but they are really nice. Next we've got a Barrier Matte Me Up. This comes in the lip kit with the lip liner as well, and these again are really nice and super affordable and give a really nice effect. I do think they're a little bit more drying than some of the other products I have, in the sense that your lips can look a little bit dry and like almost cakey after a few hours, but for the price I really enjoy them. So I have another two here. One is in this more pinky colour, and then this is more of a dark kind of taupe colour. This next product is from e.l.f. I think this is actually a lip gloss, and honestly I really don't use it. I think again I used it once when I first got it and I haven't used it since, so this will probably be going as well. Next is a Tanya Burr liquid lipstick. I think I got this in one of the advent calendars a few years ago, and I think I've worn it once and I found the formula really nice. However, the colour is a bit more bright than I typically go if I was having a red lip, so for that reason I'll probably be getting rid of this one. And lastly I have another Chloe Ferry liquid lipstick in the shade Fever, and this is more of a kind of deep red, which I really like as well. Moving on to my actual lipsticks, the first one I have is this Rimmel one. It's in, I think I'd call it a kind of like coffee brown colour, and it has a little bit of shimmer to it. Honestly, I don't wear it a lot, but I think in autumn it can be quite nice to have kind of a neutral lip to go with, like, I don't know, a glittery lid or something. So although I don't use it often, I always hang on to it because when I do wear it, I really enjoy it. Next is another Rimmel lipstick. This is one of the Kate Moss lipsticks in the shade 1, and it's this really nice red colour. Honestly, I don't really wear like classic lipsticks much anymore. I tend to go for liquid lipsticks. However, the colour of this is so nice that I always hang on to it just in case I do decide that I want to wear it. Next we have a MAC lipstick in the shade Brave, which is this really nice pinky colour. It's one of my favourite shades along with Velvet Teddy, which I'm not really sure where it is, so that's probably somewhere in the house, but it's not here. But yeah, I really love this shade, so this will be staying as well. Finally we have this Organise beauty lipstick. As you can probably guess, this was again from a beauty subscription box, and honestly I haven't used it at all just because the shade is a little bit too light for me. I used to have MAC's Flesh Pot, which was quite a similar shade, and it just did not work for me at all. But on the bright side, it does pretty much perfectly match my nails, which is nice. But as it is brand new and I haven't used it, I will probably give this away to one of my friends or family. Finally, we've got kind of lip glosses and balms, and the first one we have is the Soap & Glory Extreme Plump Lip Balm. Not lip balm, lip gloss. This is one of my favourite lip glosses because it makes your lips like really plump, because it kind of, I don't know whether it's mint or something in it, but it makes your lips really tingly, and if I'm not feeling a lipstick I always put this on instead, and I just think it looks really nice and really adds to any makeup look. Next we have this duo of Max Factor products. So one is the kind of liquid lip colour and the other is almost like a Vaseline balm which you put over the top to set it in place. A lot of the time I tend to just use the colour without the balm because it kind of dries quite matte. Obviously it's not quite as long lasting when you don't kind of set it with the other bit, but I kind of like them separate, so I'll be keeping those as well. Next we have this No. 7 High Shine Lip Crayon, and I have had this for so long, as you can probably tell by looking at it, but I've loved it, and the colour is so nice and natural. I think you can literally see where the end is, like it's pretty much empty, so I am going to have to get rid of it, but this has served me so well and it's one of my absolute favourites for so long. Next we have two baby lips, which I feel again are like a proper throwback if you've been on YouTube for a long time, but I still keep these two because they are really nice moisturisers. This one has a little bit of a brown tint to it, whereas this one is just kind of a normal moisturiser, but these will be staying in my collection as well. Finally we have this Steve Laurent Beauty lip balm in a little pot. This also came in a beauty subscription box. Honestly, I haven't really used it. I think I've like swatched it once, but it looks so nice with the kind of coppery packaging that I can't get rid of it. And the colour is really nice. I just don't tend to kind of go for the balms which come in a pot, as opposed to where you just apply them straight kind of from the applicator, if that makes sense. But it is a really nice colour and I will be keeping it, as I say, because I can't get rid of it because the packaging is just so nice. Finally, we've got my eyeshadows and a few little pots, which I'm going to start with first. So this first one is a Topshop paint pot in the colour Stripped, and the reason I picked this up a few years ago is because it's a really good dupe for the MAC Painterly paint pot. So I used to use this a lot for priming eyes, but to be honest, again, I haven't used it in so long and it probably has gone off at this point, so this one will be leaving my collection. Next I've got a Maybelline Colour Tattoo 24 Hour in On and On Bronze. Again, these used to be such a big deal on YouTube. And they're so nice and easy to use because you can literally apply them with your finger because they're a cream and like blend them out. And I always used to use these when I went on holiday. So the colour of it is really nice, but as I say, again, this is pretty old, so I should probably get rid of it. So this will again be leaving my collection. So finally we've got all of my eyeshadow palettes, which I'm going to quickly go through and show you. So the first one I have is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, and honestly I don't really use this, however it does smell really nice, and the main reason I haven't gotten rid of it is because it is quite damaged. Like some of the shades, I don't know if you can see, are kind of like cracked, and obviously I don't think people are really going to want to buy it because it's damaged, so I just keep it in my collection, and occasionally I will use it. I just find some of the shades, like in terms of the browns and stuff, are quite similar, but colours like the Champagne Truffle and Marzipan are some of my favourites and are really nice. Next we've got the Revolution Soph palette, which is one of my favourites. I love how many different shades there are in here. You literally have so many options in terms of like the looks you can do with it. And actually these two shades here, even though they look kind of green and blue, when you actually swatch them they come out so nice, and all of the shimmers in here are so good, and for the price of the palette as well, it's so nice. So I'm a massive fan of this one, and this will be staying for a very long time. Next we've got the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. It's looking a little bit dirty because it's got like a kind of felty velvet packaging to it, but again I used to absolutely love using this palette. Again, the shimmers in here are unreal. They are so creamy and they apply so nicely, and I used to really love the pink colours over here as well. I don't tend to reach for it as often since I've got other palettes, but I still really like it, so I do keep it. Next, this is my favourite palette at the moment, and it is the Carnival palette by Be Perfect Cosmetics, and the colours in here are just absolutely amazing. There's literally almost every colour you could need in this palette, and what I really liked is there was a few colours in here like these kind of blues and greens, which are something I wouldn't typically go for, but after watching quite a few like YouTube tutorials I feel like I'd give a go, and I've actually made quite a few kind of like pinky purple looks, and obviously used like the gold and coppery colours. And it also comes with two highlighters here, which are meant to be just I think face highlighters, but they work really well in the inner corner or for your face, and it's just a really kind of well-rounded palette that I really enjoy using at the minute. Next is just a little custom palette that I have. I'm trying to remember what the brand of these little eyeshadows are, and I just can't remember for the life of me. I'm looking if it is, here we go, I've got it, right. So these are Makeup Geek eyeshadows, and I went through a phase a few years ago where I picked up like all these different colours, and I had the like plan of filling out this whole palette with them. However, as I've kind of found like lots of palettes that I like, I haven't really needed to kind of buy more individual shades, but the ones that I do have are really nice, especially this one, which I think is called Shimmer Shimmer, is so good for the inner corner, and this pink one, which I believe is Cupcake, again really nice, and they're really affordable, so they're really nice. However, as I say, I feel like I've got enough eyeshadow that I don't need to kind of keep filling up this pan. And then finally we have this Morphe 24G Grand Glam palette. And I don't know if you can tell, so I'll add my like hand in for comparison. The pans in this are absolutely huge, like they are massive, and honestly the colours in here are so nice, and I was so excited when I first got this, but I haven't really used it that much. But as I say, I really like it, but I haven't used it, which makes me feel a bit bad. But when you have so many eyeshadow palettes, it is hard to kind of continuously use them all, so I go through phases with them. But like all the colours are just so creamy and pigmented. I'll give you a few more swatches so you can see, but the quality is just absolutely incredible, and for that reason it is going to be staying, because you just cannot fault this kind of quality. So yeah, so that is all my makeup sorted. I'm now going to go through and organise it in these little containers which I got from, I believe it's called Muji, which I think there's a physical store in London, but I tend to just kind of order them online. They're really reasonably priced and they fit really well if you have the IKEA Alex drawers. So I'm going to sort through my products, obviously put them in like face, lips, eyes, and then put them into my Alex drawers, and I will show you the completed product.
2 hours later.
So it is now all organised. So in this top drawer is where I've got all of my base products. So I've got concealers, foundations, setting sprays and primers, bronzers, highlighters, blushes, and then at the very back, stuff I don't reach for as much, like a colour corrector and powders. In this next drawer, in the first section here, we've got my mascaras and eyeliners. This bit is eyebrows, then we've got lip liners, liquid lipsticks, and then normal lipsticks and lip balms at the back. Then in this final drawer here, we've just got my eyeshadow palettes here, my eyelashes, and then at the back is all this random skincare stuff which I need to sort. But that is everything. So that is it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up down below and subscribe. And my next video is hopefully going to be a room tour of my new room, which I have finally moved into and painted my walls and everything. So if you would like to see that, subscribe and turn on the notification button so that you don't miss it. And I will see you guys very soon with another video.